Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ndumodu. I am your host, Dr. Uwa Onyoha Osimiri. It is indeed my honor and pleasure to welcome you to another episode of Ndumodu Show. Unfortunately, right now we're waiting for our guest to arrive. He just sent us information indicating that he's having car trouble, and he'll join us as soon as he can. His name is Smart Madu Ajaja. So we are going to be waiting for him to come in. But in the meantime, if you have not subscribed to this channel, Ndumodu TV on YouTube, please do so right away. Your support is critical for ensuring that I continue to bring you all forms of entertaining and informative discussion. This show is sponsored today by Mano Angu Be Sweet, the body lotion for the discerning woman and man.
Pamper your skin with our Honey Nectar Body Cream. Enriched with honey, it deeply hydrates for soft, glowing skin. Silky smooth, sweetly scented, and perfect for any moment because you deserve it. Power up your skincare with our Honey Nectar Body Cream. Infused with honey, it hydrates and protects, leaving skin smooth and refreshed. With a subtle masculine scent, it's confident in a jar.
Well, welcome again to Ndumodu Show. We're still waiting for our guest, Smart Madu Ajaja. As I indicated earlier, he has had some challenges this morning, and unfortunately, he'll not be joining us as early as we had hoped. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to have a conversation about something else while we're waiting for him to come to the studios. You know, many of you are familiar that there's a shutdown in the United States. And quite frankly, this is I believe this is the 11th shutdown in modern history. And it is the third under our current president. It occurred this time around because Congress failed to pass full year appropriations for fiscal year 2026. And it's unfortunate that we have these shutdowns because it does impact a lot of people, particularly federal employees. We have about 803,000 federal employees are going to be followed. Well, they're already followed, and I believe it's about 700,000 essential workers will continue to work without pay. Think about that. You're going to work and you're not being paid for working. You can imagine how painful that is. So there are about 700,000 of such essential individuals that are not going to be paid, which certainly impacts many families and raises concerns about financial stability among the federal workers. 700,000, that's a lot of people. And then you also have, like I indicated, those who were followed, 803,000 followed. Then you have 700,000 that have to work because they're considered essential, but they're not getting paid. Now you think about you working, leaving your home, using your gas, your transportation, and you're not going to be able to be paid in spite of you working. So you will ask what services and agencies are impacted by this shutdown. Well, let's see. The key agencies are like the National Institute of Health, the CDC, the WIC, have faced partial or full suspensions of operations impacting public health. That's what, when you shut down these, people here shut down, and as long as you're going about your business, you don't understand the impact the shutdown is actually having, on the one, on the public health and social services. Now, on the other hand, core services such as Medicare, Medicaid, TSA screening, and Amtrak still operate, which may create disparities in service availability. And remember, some of those are essential workers, and as long as they're working, they're not getting paid. So you can imagine how the morale of the citizens are, particularly those who hold those positions. It's quite unfortunate. You have a political stalemate right now. That's what's causing the negotiations not to continue. The disagreement over foreign aid and cuts and health insurance subsidies. For those of you who have health insurance, your health insurance is going to go 70%. I'm understanding is going to increase by 70%. So in U.S. politics, this is where the snag is. The Democrats say that the insurance subsidies must not elapse. It's imperative that they continue to have those so that people don't lose their insurance. So you can imagine how important that is. But the Republicans are not willing to budge. They want to continue the already approved budget for the past fiscal year. But well, it all depends on what side of the aisle you're in. The bottom line is people need their health. I'm of the mindset that people need to have their health insurance. Health insurance is imperative. Without health insurance, I mean, you have a sick society. It doesn't make sense to allow health insurance to elapse. People are having difficulty paying for insurance right now. Can you imagine when it's 70% more, than you were paying before? I don't know how many people can afford that. And then on the other hand, nobody, quite frankly, can afford not to have health insurance. Everybody needs health insurance. So this is really where the rub is. You might want to, touch on public, and I want to just talk about the public sentiment. I've watched videos, I've watched TikTok, I've watched YouTube, I've watched different organizations to see how people feel about the fact that the insurance subsidies, Obamacare, may lapse. And I'm telling you, for some people, particularly the elderly who have health challenges, I cannot even imagine how they can do without health insurance or be able to pay for health insurance when when the cost increases. So it would be really helpful to the society, to the country, if the Congress will come back to work. Now, I understand the Speaker of the House has closed shop. They're closing shop when people are suffering. I don't get it, but the struggle is real. The struggle is real, and the shutdown is really not helping. It's not helping at all. The politics of this country right now is in such disarray. When I say disarray, is because it's in disarray because it really does not meet the needs of the people. I think everything is just focused on the politics of the moment, and nobody's looking at, okay, the people that we serve, how are we serving them? That's the important thing. How are we serving the American community? It's really quite, it's a very disturbing, very, very disturbing. Again, I'm waiting for our guest to arrive today. He's having challenges with his vehicle, so they're repairing it. And in the meantime, we're going to continue. Tell me what you think. You can type and tell me, give me your thoughts about the shutdown, and we can talk about it. How do you feel? Is it impacting you? Some of you who may be listening to that, is it going to impact you, or has it started impacting you already? So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? It's impacting everything. I mean, let's just talk about, not getting paid, not having money, and you have to feed a family. How do you do that? You have to pay your house note. How do you do that? You have to pay your car note. How do you continue to function when funds are not coming in? Many people, somebody says, scared. Yes, people are scared. I can imagine, particularly when people have children and children are depending on the services that are being cut. And, what do you say to these kids? What do we say to our children when they're hungry and you can't provide food for them? This is scary time. Yes, Sovereign, I agree. It's quite scary. because it's not just a few people who are impacted. It's many, many millions of Americans that are going to be impacted. And on top of all of that, you've got the challenges of food. The cost of food is just skyrocketing. It is so high. I mean, I went to the, pardon me, I went to the grocery store the other day, and quite frankly, I was just shocked. I want to admit that my husband loves to shop, so he does the bulk of the grocery shopping. So I'm not always at the grocery store, but to see when I went myself to go and do a special kind of shopping, I was just outdone. I could not believe the cost of food. I just couldn't believe it. It was just absolutely phenomenal. The costs have risen, of eggs. And my understanding was that we're going to the cost of eggs and food and all of that's going to go down. Well, it's not happening. Food is extremely expensive right now, and then when you don't have money, when you've been followed or you've been you're an essential person and you can't even feed your family because you're not getting paid, but you have to leave your family and go to work, but you're not coming home with any money. That has to be extremely frustrating and difficult. And yes, Sovereign says spaghetti sauce is $6. Yes, I saw all of that. I could not believe the cost. I couldn't believe, things that you paid $2 and something for, now you're talking about $6. And I was looking at tomato sauce. I said, wow. And I'm so glad you raised this, because I was saying, wow, look at the cost of this. So some of these things we have to create ourselves now. You have to just go buy you some tomatoes. And then the rub there too. Tomatoes are quite expensive as well. So it's really, and I'm very concerned about the elderly, how the elderly are faring in a situation like this, when, and my understanding is also the ICE crackdown, it's making it difficult for nursing homes. And so all those areas are already struggling. Now they may be impacted even more with the shutdown. So I'm hoping it's not a long-term sort of thing. I know the last one with Donald Trump lasted over a month, and that was excruciating for the American citizens. So I'm hoping that all of the president and all of the members of Congress will take into consideration the needs of the people and get to the table. I'm not sure why we're taking time off. I mean, we're taking time off and Americans are suffering. What is that about? What is that about? We can't do that. We need to come back. They need to come back to the table. They need to come back to the table, because this is absolutely unacceptable. And in my understanding, yeah, it wants it to go to 2028. How can you do that? Now, I think what has happened is that with all the cuts and all of the firings and what have you, it appears that people think, well, if I'm not the one who's fired, right, then, I'm okay. So I don't see the pain of others. And if this stretches as the president wants it to go to 2028, well, I would hope not. That would be absolutely devastating for the country and for the people, because what are the people? I mean, you're part of a community, you're part of a country, because you can work, you can do things, you can take advantage of all the different amenities available to you in the country. But in this way, if everything is cut off, even trash, hopefully things like the trash, trash pickup doesn't die. I would hope not, because that would be very, very devastating, So this is not, I don't know anybody who's enjoying this. I don't know anybody who thinks this is a good idea. And it is my hope that the leaders of this country will take into consideration the needs of the people, particularly, the National Institute of Health, CDC, I mean, how do you suspend the health or agency like the National Institute of Health? How do you do that? The health of the people is critical. You don't have a country when everybody's sick. People get sick and more, And then if you have an infectious disease that's going to be spreading everywhere, who's monitoring that? The CDC cannot be suspended. Unfortunately, that's what they're talking about. They're suspended, is partially suspended. And WIC, WIC is for food for for children, and if that's suspended, what are we doing? What are we saying to those children? What's going to happen to these kids? What's going to happen to the kids? If all these essentials, you can't go to the park now. If you go to the parks are closed. So many places are closed. It's quite devastating. A country like the United States, this place is a powerhouse. It's supposed to be, but all these shutdowns, and it just doesn't even make sense. But I don't know. For me personally, I don't know what you think, but to fly, right now is an interesting proposition, because the people who are responsible for the TSA, people who work at the airport, they're not getting paid. You don't know how people act, how the anger of people and all that sort of thing. So I don't know that I would trust flying at this time, because of people who are handling all those things there at the airport, and they're not getting paid. I'm not sure exactly what component of the airport, of the staffing there is not, but I know that TSA, they are considered essential, but they're not getting paid. So I don't know how much they put into their program, their work, So I don't know. It's something that all of us somehow, one way or the other, we're all going to be impacted by this, one way or the other. Now I understand that the elders, Social Security, and such funding for people with disabilities, that those are not going to be impacted at this time. Now I don't know what will happen eventually, but at this time, we're being told that those are not going to be impacted. Let's hope not, because too many people depend on that, particularly the people who are on disability. They have enough challenges as it is, that this is additional stress. And so I'm not sure who thought this was a very good idea. I don't know. Again, we're waiting for our guest, smart Madu Ajaja, who's having trouble with his car, and he's not able to join us at the moment. So we will continue to talk about this challenge that America is facing now with this shutdown. And I want to get your thoughts. What do you think? Again, is it impacting you? If it's not impacting you, maybe your neighbor. Who is this impacting? Who are you concerned about? You're concerned for yourself. Are you concerned about your neighbor? Who are we concerned about? To me, this is not a white or a black or class issue, what political party you're affiliated with. This is going to impact everyone. This is going to impact everyone. And it is really, really quite unfortunate that this is happening. All right. Well, it appears that our guest is not going to be able to join us today. So consequently, I am going to just, I think I've said all that I'm going to say about the shutdown. And for all of you who are there, I am really praying that you are not impacted by this. There's nothing else I can say about it. It's just devastating. Incidentally, I was watching a program where a lot of people were gathered and talking about how this was going to impact them. The young people who just got a job. One young lady just got a job with the federal government. She was so happy, and now that's gone. And she's taking care of her own mother. Now she doesn't know how she's going to do that. I mean, it's particularly hard for a lot of people who are working for the federal government. And, everything is so interconnected. It's not just that it's hard for one group and then is it easier for the other? No, everything is connected. What happens here ultimately is going to trickle down to the next person. It somehow maybe we're not impacted personally right now, but that's not to say that ultimately we will not be. That's what's that's the uncertainty of the whole thing. People really don't know. People don't know, and when you don't know what's coming down the pike, it can be quite disorienting, so to speak. And for a lot of people, it's a very, for those who have suicidal ideation, when people lose hope, they start thinking horrible thoughts. And so this doesn't help. So it cannot go too long, because those who are suffering, when they don't see a way out, when they don't have any way to take care of themselves and their families, it's quite disturbing. It messes with the mind. I was watching also another video where it's showing people who have lost their homes. The Section 8 people are being kicked out of their homes. And so you have, if you go to some neighborhoods, you see a whole slew of clothing and furniture strewn everywhere. That's people kicked out of their homes. So you got people dealing with that to start with, and perhaps they have a little job, okay, which could be part of the working for the federal government. I don't know. But now you're talking about you don't have a home. Now you don't have a house. I mean, you don't have a car, possibly. You don't have a job. And a lot of these people, they end up in the streets, and then they look down, people look down on them, as if they committed a crime being homeless, and it's just situations like this that just make it so difficult for people to survive. So it's almost like the poor just can't seem to catch a break. When you think your head is a little bit above ground, that you're hit with something else. So it's the constant mental turmoil. People don't realize that. It's not just a matter of, it's shut down. It has ramifications beyond the financial part of it. There is the emotional part of it, the mental part of it, the physical, part of it, and then a lot of individuals who find themselves in a position that that's untenable. They can't do anything about their situation. Their minds start to work against them, and they do crazy things. So I'm surprised that the leaders are focused so much on money, and not thinking about the people who pay the taxes. The money that you're fighting and arguing about, it's people who pay it. People pay taxes. And because they pay taxes, that's how come you have the money. So you're fighting money over money that people are paying into tax, paying their taxes. All right. Now you're taking the jobs away from them. Who's going to be paying all these taxes? But we don't want the rich to be taxed. Okay, if the rich are not taxed, and then the poor are not getting, don't have jobs, who's paying into the tax system? Who's paying for all of this? Where's all this money? And that's why it's really bad that the programs that are earmarked for this community, for the poor, all those things are shutting down. So I can imagine, where is all that money going? Because you're not bringing any tax dollars. You're not bringing any tax dollars. You're not bringing any tax dollars through taxation of the rich. You don't want to do that. Okay. Now the poor are losing their jobs. Right? So where there's no money coming in from all these people who are being laid off or being fired and all of that. So where's the money coming from? Where's the billions of dollars that we're hearing about? Where is that going? Where is that coming from to sustain a lot of things that we're hearing that's going on? $20 billion is going to be given to some foreign country. I don't want to call the name. Where's that $20 billion coming from? Money that we should be using here. Should we not be using it here? Why are we giving it to a foreign entity? I don't understand anything. Before anybody gets mad at me, I'm asking questions because I don't know. I don't understand. A lot of it doesn't make sense. Maybe somebody can get up here and tell me that it makes sense. I'm eager to hear. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, and I'm hoping that the president and the community and the Congress will come together and work this thing out, because they don't know the pain out here. The pain out here is real. You know, people are really, really suffering, and it's imperative that this thing doesn't go too long. You know, it's my understanding that it might go even for years. Are we serious? I mean, what's going to become of the American citizens? You know, do they matter anymore? You know, that's the question I was. Do the American citizens matter anymore? Because you know, some of these things that are happening is not on their behalf. You know, the positive things that should be happening for American citizens. What's going on? What's going on for everybody? Everybody. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat or independent or this, that, and the other. Everybody deserves dignity, and your country is supposed to afford you that dignity. And when all these things are going on, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Am I okay myself? I don't know. I suppose I could say I'm a little okay, and because I say that because I don't want to speak too fast. You know, I don't know what the challenges may be in terms of what comes down the pike with all these shutdowns. You know, how is it going to impact any one of us? So it's not even, you're not of the mindset to say, oh, everything is hunky-dory. You know, you're not of the mindset to say everything is okay, because you don't know that everything will be okay. All we can do now is pray that the leaders of this country will come together and understand that it is imperative that they take to heart the needs of the American people. The American people pay taxes. All those funds belong to the American people. They are paying taxes for the purposes that you say the taxes is for good roads, for social services. That's why we're supposed to be paying taxes. When all those things are cutting off, what are the taxes for? And where are we collecting it from? You know, we're not getting it from the rich. Now the poor are being fired. Everybody who's been helping, you know, with that are being taxed, all those people are losing their jobs. So I just don't know where all this is heading, and I hope that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There has to be, because for this country to survive, we all have to work together. Republicans, Democrats, independents, we have to look at what's good for the country and focus on what's good for the country. Because the way we're going right now, frankly, I don't know where we're going. I don't know. I didn't even think, I've got to be honest with you, I didn't think that this will last. The shutdown will last more than 2 days. I really, well, ignorant of me, I suppose, but I really thought that in a very short time, you know, they see the light and understand that the American community, the American people are suffering, and we're not going to keep this going. So the money we're fighting over, just think about it. Look at what the fight is about. Look at what the fight is about. It's about money. The cuts that we have to give here and take from the poor, take from the, you know, sick and all of that stuff, and force the poor to pay more. See, this is what is so, it's confusing to me. If the poor are supposed to pay more in premiums for healthcare, and then they're being fired, how's that working out? I don't understand that. I don't understand that, because if you can't work, you can't pay the premiums. So who's really benefiting from all this stuff? You know, some of you have the answer. I have my notion, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to think. I'm not sure what to think. When I look down, when I'm driving and I see all these, I mean, you know, you have areas where there used to be a lot of homeless people, and now you see the homeless people, the numbers are just exploding. You know, there are more and more people, you know. As a matter of fact, there are places that you are not allowed to live in your car. And if you're found living in your car, the car will be taken from you. Where are you supposed to live when you've been kicked out of your home? You can't be in the streets. I don't understand. I don't understand. Does anybody know? I'm not laughing. It's because if I don't smile, I would cry. I'm wondering if you cannot sleep in your car, bad as that is, then your car is taken from you. It's something. It's really mind-boggling. It's insane. It's insane. Well, for my part, I'm just grateful that Medicaid and Medicare at this moment are not being cut, because the elders, the elders cannot go out there and work. The handicapped cannot go out there and work. If people who don't have people, if young people can't find jobs, and people with handicaps can't find jobs, how do they manage? I'm just wondering who is in the room having conversations about what's going on. Is anybody? Now, I'm not going to assume that they're not having conversations, but the outcome of those conversations don't seem to be very beneficial to the American people. It doesn't seem to be beneficial at all. And again, as I indicated earlier, I am not concerned about anybody's political affiliation. If you voted for what's happening, well, that's what you got. If you didn't vote for what's happening, that's most unfortunate. But regardless of how we voted, that's why I say it's so important that before you cast your ballot, don't cast your ballot based on your emotional standing with whoever the candidate is. You want to make sure, what are they bringing to the table? Because everybody suffers the consequences of the decisions that we make. Everybody suffers the consequences of the decision that we make, you see. So let us pray that our leaders will come to their senses and realize that, hey, wait a minute. We are supposed to be leading the people. It says, we the people. Hello? We the people. There are people here who need help. Is somebody listening? All these squabbling over money, it just doesn't make sense, because as it is, it's not taking people into consideration. And it should. We should start actually, we should actually begin the process of thinking, hey, who are we putting in office? Regardless of how we feel about the person may be maybe charismatic, the person may be boring, but what do they bring to the table? That's what's important, because it will impact you. Look at what's going on. Look at what's going on. The leader that we have in office right now, he was voted into office. So, for those who are complaining now, well, he didn't get in there by himself. He was voted into office, and he's doing exactly what he told you he would do. There's nothing that Donald Trump is doing that he didn't say he was going to do. He's just doing what he said he was going to do. But now we're all seeing it. We're all seeing the ramifications of the policies, and these policies are impacting everyone. People being snatched off the streets. People don't know where their family members are. Donald Trump told you he was going to do that. So when people come and say, well, I said, wait. He's doing what he told you he was going to do. And you voted for it. So don't complain now. You have to live with what he's doing, because he told you. He's a known book. He told you what he was going to do. But you chose to vote for him. So here we are. You know that he was going to put in office, the cabinet is going to be a reflection of his values. So that's what you're seeing. So we just need to now just calm our nerves and think about the consequences of decisions we make. Because as long as the person is telling you what they are going to do while they're in office, believe it. If you disagree with it, then don't vote. If you agree with it, then vote. But you can't, after you voted, start blaming the person for doing what he told you he was going to do. There's nothing new under the sun here. This is what we were told that was going to happen. So it's happening. And this shutdown is brutal, very brutal. The the extent of it, we haven't even started seeing it. It hasn't even started. What is it, 3 days now? We don't know how long it's going to last. Who is on the side of the people? Who? We don't know. Because it doesn't matter who you are. Even if you're rich right now, you think it's not going to impact you. Yes, it would, because some of those places that you like to go to, they may not have services there. So it does impact you that way. You may have the money to buy things that you want, but some services you're not going to have. It doesn't matter if you're rich. If you're poor, same thing. It impacts you. So all of this is going to impact everybody. So nobody should think because of their financial status, they're getting away with anything. I suppose if you're very rich, you can fly out of the country until the whole thing blows out. That's your luxury. That's your opportunity. That's your privilege, if you will. But there are people who are here who can't fly and leave America on a whim because they're not happy with what they see and then come back when things get better. There are people who have to live here, who have to suffer through all of this. So what I'm praying is that the president and the Congress can put aside their differences and work for the benefit of the American people, because too many people are struggling. Too many people are hurting. And what a big tragedy that is. What a big tragedy that is. I anticipate, and that's being optimistic, and I'm being optimistic here. Even though I'm hearing that they want to take it to 2028, I'm hoping that human nature, the little remnants of kindness and love that people have in their hearts for fellow human beings may take over, and the Congress will now realize that this is not worth it. This is not the fight you have. Hurting people is not a good fight, because ultimately what you're showing people is your heart. You're showing people who you are. You can deny it verbally. You can go onto the shows and talk about what about how you're kind and how you're going to do positive things. We mean well for the people. No, the actions that you're taking speaks more than the words that come out of your mouth. Americans are watching. Americans are watching. They may not be out there in the streets. They may not be, some of them are out there protesting, but the heart of the American people is hurting right now. And it's important that the leaders know that people are hurting. People are hurting. And when I talk about hurting to the extent that you don't know what they will do under the circumstances. You don't know. That's what's frightening. You see all these killings and all these people picking up guns and going. You don't know what's working in their minds, and it's made worse when people seem like they don't have any alternatives. They don't have any options. This is not where we want to be. This is not where we want people to be, to feel that there's no options. When people say, what the heck, what the heck, then they do crazy things. I want to segue away from that and talk about just recently people were told that what is that? Well, I can't even think of the name right now. But it has to do with people leaving this earth, the rapture. That's the word. When people believe such things, let me tell you that a lot of them have pain and frustration. And when you can convince people that they're better off leaving this earth, that they're better off going elsewhere, where there'll be love and peace and whatever, and they're willing to sell their homes, sell their cars, sell their belongings, and all of that. People who do that, there is something else going on in their minds. There's something about this world we live in that many of them have grown frustrated with, that the only thing they can think about doing is just leaving it and just going away. So they're gullible. And that's the same thing I'm afraid of. People who are in distress, And I don't, I don't want anybody to get upset. I mean, there's some people who just believe in the rapture, and Jesus will come and pick them up and all that sort of thing. But there's some people who believe in that. But there's some people out of desperation who have no alternative, who feel that there's no alternative, that will do anything just to find peace somewhere. When you have when you're surrounded by a lot of stress, when people are scared to go outside and all sorts of things, you don't know, people are not going to movies. People are finding difficulty going to where there are a lot of places, a lot of people. There used to be a time that we all, hey, when there was supposed to be a crowd, you want to go and be a part of that crowd. Yeah, there was a time that we all used to do that. Now you're scared to do that. Now you're scared to do that. You're afraid that if you go to where there's crowded, who's got a gun? Who's going to come out there shooting? It's like Sovereign said, it's devastating. It's devastating. When we don't see people in the streets and we think, oh, people are taking this in and, they're just going about their business. No. People are hurting. People are hurting. And those people who are hurting, you always don't want to have people to the place of thinking there are no options. I don't have a choice. When you have people thinking, I don't care, that's a dangerous place for them to be. Because people thinking, I don't care, they do horrible things. They do horrible things. And when we consistently make the other an enemy, then when people who are stressed out, people who are not thinking, when they see that other, they don't mind. When we tear each other's humanity apart, because this person is Republican, this is Democrat, this is independent, when we create the other, we start looking at that other, not from the lenses of humanity. We start seeing them as the enemy. And when we see them as the enemy, we don't mind hurting them. That's the danger of all of this. That's the danger of all of this. Every American has the right to experience what it means to be American. Every American. Everybody who lives within the law of this land deserves to feel free, deserves to feel safe. But there's an element of fear right now, as Sovereign said, devastating. There's an element of fear that people are feeling right now. Nobody knows where to go. Nobody knows what's right, what's wrong. You don't know what to say, what not to say. People are couching. Which we must never, ever feel so to the point that we feel that our voices, you still have the right to speak your mind, express yourself. It's part of the Constitution of the United States. And I just want to just say a little bit about what's going on in my own country, in Nigeria, where people are suffering. The government need to look into what they need to do, because the tragedy is you don't have much of any safety nets for the people. So everybody's a business person. Everybody's trying to get things done for themselves and take care of their children. That's why we say, oh, you have children in the streets hawking this and hawking that. They don't have a choice. There are no safety nets for their elderly parents. There are no social services that would take care of the poor. So the poor have to do the best that they can, and they are suffering there too. So it's all over the world, the suffering. Leaders need to pause and think, who are we serving? Are we just serving ourselves? Are we serving the people who are paying taxes and where our salaries come from? Those who are making all this money as leaders, where do they think the money come from? It's the people, the very poor people who are paying taxes. That's how you're getting paid. So it has to be very, very important that we take into the needs, take into consideration the needs of the people. There's an African proverb that says, don't leave your brothers and sisters behind. And for a lot of people thinking that because you're wealthy, you can look down on the poor. It could be the poor person that will give you the last morsel of food that you need if you were caught in the desert. Because, there are circumstances where your money may not save you. There are times that your money will be not your savior. And it could well be that poor person that you spit on, that poor person you look down on, that poor person that you take from, that may be the person that will feed you in a situation where you can't use that money. Let's remember, money is only good where you are around, where you can spend it. It's only good where you can retrieve it. On a deserted island, your money is useless. If you're stuck with a poor person on an island, that poor person may be the person with the smarts to help both of you. And all you can tell that person, oh, when we get to the mainland, I will pay you back. No, pay not back, pay right here. Because your money is meaningless. Humanity, love for humanity should supersede love of money, because there are circumstances where money is useless. Money is a good thing, but there are circumstances. Somebody here indicates that Niger, only God will help us. So I know it's hard. It's hard in Nigeria as well. It's hard in a lot of African countries. It's really up to these leaders to wake up and understand that the people that you're looking down on today, that's what gives you the country. When you talk about the nation, who do you think the nation is? Count how many billionaires you have. You think those are the nation? They don't make up the nation. The nation are the people. And if you take care of your people, the people take care of the country. The people are willing to fight for the country, to do for the country. But if you just select a few and say, these are the people who make up this country, when you remove the rest of them, there's no country, there's no nation, because the nation does not run itself. The nation does not operate on its own. It's people that make things happen. Money is important, but so are the people who live in the country. So I am praying that we will not continue to punish the poor people of this nation, the poor people of Nigeria, the poor people of any nation that's struggling. Those are the people who make the country. Without them, there's no country. Without the rich and the poor, there's no country. The rich cannot be the country. There's not enough of them. If you have a nation that's 360 million and you have 2 million billionaires, what about the rest of them? You 2 million billionaires. How about the rest of them? If the country is 365 million people, any country that's that many, and only about 2 million are billionaires, they can't make the country. It's the people that make the country. I think some of our leaders have their minds in the wrong place. They're not thinking. Any country where the people are taken care of, the leaders do well. Any country where the people are taken care of. If you look at, people, Nigeria is a rich country. Nigeria is very wealthy. There's no reason for the people to be struggling as they are. The leaders, I look at a country like Burkina Faso, and they're helping their people. They're building homes, businesses for their people. And as long as the people are happy, the leader will be taken care of. I look at Abia State in Nigeria. The governor of Abia State. Abia State is so totally changed. So totally changed. Now, who's going to run against him in an election? Who's going to run against a man who has repaired all the bad roads? What information are you bringing to the table? Who's going to run against a man who has brought electricity almost everywhere? What are you going to bring to the table? The people will rally around a person who is taking their well-being into consideration. That's what you find. So I look at all these people who say that, oh, they're going to come, no, go sit down. Unless you can do what this particular leader is doing, go and sit down. Nobody's voting for you. Because leadership is not about me. Leadership is about the people. The people, if you don't take care of them, they're not going to take care of you. If you don't take care of them, they're not going to support you. So if you want the support of the citizenry, you got to support them. Because the citizens, they look at what you're bringing to the table, not what you're telling them. Now, you got some of those people who believe anything. If they love the leader, they'll believe anything. You sell them, and you can sell them the couch they're sitting on and tell them it's a new one, and they'll believe it. You see what I'm saying? So there are some of those people who will believe whatever, But the majority of the people don't believe nonsense. Majority of the people, you don't see them, but they are reading, they're studying, they're watching, they know what's going on. But when they get into that booth and vote, if you allow them to do the right, if you do the right and allow them to cast their votes, they will vote for that person who will do well for them. So if you want the people to support you, then you know what to do. Support the people. Support the people. Punishing citizens is a fool's errand. Because while some people are blinded by no loyalty, many are not. Many are not. So leaders must consider what they are telling the people, what they are selling the people. That's what will keep you in office. You support the people, they support you. You don't support them, they don't. You may try and intimidate, you may try and, threaten and all of that, but you can't see everyone. People are watching. So all these leaders all over the world, think about who you are taking care of. Is it just you, your friends, your buddies, or are you somehow opening your eyes and ears and mouth to realize that the people who make the country that you are ruling are the common man? And there are more of them than your rich friends. There are more of them than your family, more of them than your buddies. And when the time comes, they will vote accordingly. So I am praying, really, truly praying that this shutdown will end. And I'm also praying for Nigeria that the leaders will begin the process of looking and seeing the people. Not, sometimes I get so disturbed when I see these leaders in their fancy cars and they're speeding through the streets and, going wherever they're going, and they're chasing the poor man off the road, and the dust, and then the soldiers, whomsoever, are whipping them and telling them, get out of the way, get out of the way. They're not seeing who they are leading. They see power, they see money, but they don't see the people. So if you're one of those people who are impacted, one of those people impacted by the shutdown, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for all of us. I am praying for all of us and hoping that we shall be well. Could you hold 1 second? I'm taking a break right now. And one moment, please. Guys, I'm going to go for a quick break right now, and I will be right back. Let me advertise Ndumodu show. Yes, yes, yes. Smart has just advised me that he's fixed his car, but unfortunately, I have another show coming up this afternoon at noon, so it doesn't give me time to prepare for the other one. So we are going to reschedule. I've told him that we will reschedule, and we'll bring him back, and we'll have a wonderful. He's a good. He has so much to share, so much to share. So I am going to advertise again when the next show will be with Smart Madu Ajaja. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. I want to thank you all for being here today. Um, Somebody said here, I wish they had the heart to do the right thing. Well, um, uh, the sad thing about our leaders is that they always go where the money where the money is, where the money is. So unfortunately, money seems to guide their thoughts. You know, money seems to guide their thoughts, and that's unfortunate. So yes, hopefully, individually, they start to think about the people they are serving. And again, as I said earlier, there is no country without the people. Ultimately, what's going to happen is if the people, you can have as much money as you want. You can have as much money as you want. Ultimately, that country that what happens is if the country goes messes up, if the country goes belly up, you're not going to live in that country. All you're going to do with all your money is you're going to leave that country because it's been destroyed. Because when you have people who are not happy, that's not a happy country. So with all your money, the only thing you can do is you're going to ultimately leave. That's just it. People don't understand that. When you don't take care of the poor, ultimately you're going to end up leaving the country. Because the people, the poor and the middle class, they're the ones who make up the country. And there are many, many more of them. So let's give them a little bit of happiness and make them proud of being the members of the country, and do what's right by them. Support the programs that help support them, and hopefully, we'll have a better citizenship, a better citizenry who are happier and who feel that they belong, who feel that they matter. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you all for joining me today. And again, I apologize that Smart was not able to join us today, but we are going to announce when next he's going to join us. At noon today, I have a wonderful presentation. If you're able to join us today at 12 noon, we have the wonderful Utu Umune organization. They are going to be in the studios at 12 noon. It's going to be exciting. To meet all the officers, I'm sorry, some of the officers of the organization. And so, again, thank you for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you at noon or next time on the Ndumodu Show. Take care. Open your ears, open your eyes, learn something new. Yeah, guys, here.